Milkman!
This is how we do it.
And you know this, man?
Hey guys, Mr. Google here, and before I start my review for The Dark Knight Rises, I'd like to send my condolences to all the families in Aurora, Colorado, who were affected by the Aurora, Colorado movie theater shooting the night The Dark Knight Rises midnight show. So I'm really sorry about what happened over in Colorado, and I wish you the best. Now before I get into my review, I know, another one, for my Dark Knight Rises review, I want to go over all the other Batman movies, because I didn't make any other videos for them before this movie came out, so I'm just going to do that. I don't own, like, 2 Batman movies. 1960s Batman movie with Adam West, which I haven't seen since I was a little boy, and I remember liking that movie a lot. And I just recently watched Batman Mask of the Phantasm. It was awesome. Awesome movie. Going first with Tim Burton's Batman from 1989, we have Michael Keaton as Batman, who I liked as Bruce Wayne, wasn't that crazy about him as Batman. And then we had Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I really like Jack Nicholson as the Joker in this. Really cool. I didn't like him as much as Heath Ledger, you know, but he was really great. A lot of people said, oh, he's just playing Jack Nicholson, but whatever, he was great anyway. Wasn't crazy about Kim Basinger. It was an entertaining movie, but sometimes it gets a little too silly. It's a little too Tim Burton-y, if you know what I mean, but it's a really entertaining ride. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Then we have the next Tim Burton Batman movie, Batman Returns, which has Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman, Bruce Wayne. And in this, we have Danny DeVito as the Penguin and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Now, I loved Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito in this movie, especially Michelle Pfeiffer. Really loved them in this movie. The movie is incredibly goofy, though, at times. It's even more goofy than the first, and especially due to, like, Christopher Walken in this movie. Wasn't crazy about him. I did really, like it still, but I wouldn't say it was great or really good in the slightest, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Then we have the Joel Schumacher movies, and maybe, I think Joel Schumacher did a terrible job with the Batman movies. However, I really like Batman Forever. I thought Batman Forever was, like, such a fun movie, especially when I was younger. I loved it, but now I watch it again. Like, I watched it, like, 2 times the other day, because I wanted to really, like, get a good opinion on it. Yeah, I really love Val Kilmer as Batman. I really did. I love him as Batman, Bruce Wayne. I really like Val Kilmer. Maybe it's just because he was Gay Perry and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I don't care. I really liked him. Didn't like Chris O'Donnell. No, absolutely not. That's one of the worst casting choices ever. I wasn't crazy about Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, but it wasn't really his fault. It was the way the character was written. I did love Jim Carrey, though. I really liked his Riddler. Technically, it wasn't a great Riddler at all, but the way Carrey played it, the way he played it definitely went with the tone of the movie, and I totally respected that. I loved him in the movie. As for Batman and Robin, no. And now we have the Batman movies directed by Christopher Nolan. We have Batman Begins, which is awesome, and I don't hate Katie Holmes, okay? Katie Holmes is way better than Maggie Gyllenhaal, okay? She's really good. And Batman Begins, 9.5 out of 10. Dark Knight, possibly one of the greatest movies ever made. It's one of my personal favorite movies ever made. And yeah, Heath Ledger is a pimp. He was a pimp. Joker, probably my favorite performance of all time. Terrific. And whenever I see that movie, I just watched it yesterday again, and it was just before I saw this movie, and it was just insane. I loved Heath Ledger in that movie. Oh my God, best performance ever. And now we get to The Dark Knight Rises, which is directed by Christopher Nolan, and it stars Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Gary Oldman, Marion Cotillard, Tom Hardy, Anne Hathaway, and JGL. Pimp. I, of course, like everyone, was absolutely 100% not looking forward to it. I can't do that. No, of course I was excited for this movie, absolutely excited. I know in my top 20 most anticipated films of the summer, I had this at my number 2. Technically, it was my number 1 because I didn't want to overhype the shit out of it, but I still had to put it in my top 2. Like, number 2 was a good spot for it. But after seeing The Dark Knight Rises, how was it? Absolutely fantastic. Now, I am sick and tired of people nitpicking the shit out of this movie, because technically you can nitpick at a couple things. I sure did at a couple things, but other than that, it was a near-perfect film. I love the tone of this movie. I love how Christopher Nolan builds a really awesome tone. It makes it feel really, like, sort of pulpy and gritty and sort of feels like a comic book at times, and that's awesome when you can make a comic book movie feel like a comic book. Like, a couple weeks ago we had The Amazing Spider-Man. I really liked that movie. But this one kicks it right in the anus. Anus, 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 anus. Absolutely loved almost every single second of it. To get my, like, one gripe out of the way, sometimes it gets a little too obnoxiously long. And you start to notice it. But then the climax comes and, oh my god. That's what she said. But this movie was insane. I don't want to give away anything that happens in this movie. I just want to talk about the technical aspects and the performances, because I'm dying to. Christopher Nolan directs this movie flawlessly. The cinematography is freaking awesome. I feel like there were some points of this movie where I actually felt like I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna blow up with Gotham. And I felt like I was in actual danger. I was way more on the edge of my seat in this movie than I was in The Dark Knight. And I almost shit my pants in The Dark Knight. So that's really good feat for Christopher Nolan to reach. And I love the script that him and his brother wrote. Sometimes I thought it was going to get a tiny bit too convoluted, but it ended up doing everything almost perfect. The musical score by Hans Zimmer, do I really need to comment on it? It's Hans Zimmer, okay? He never really does a bad script. Yeah, he's a screenwriter all of a sudden. No, I'm gonna be a composer, and then halfway through my composer career, I'm gonna become a screenwriter. No, but he's a great composer, and yeah, going on to performances finally. Christian Bale. This is the best we've ever gotten from him as Batman. For sure. I know that's probably not anything you're hearing new, but he was great in this movie. And then we have Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine in this movie, and I wanted more Michael Caine. Michael Caine and the scenes he was in was terrific. I would say if he was like in a couple more scenes, he would have been an automatic NIFA Best Supporting Actor Drama nominee for me. But honestly, he was terrific, and the scenes he was in, terrific. Morgan Freeman, awesome in this movie. Love Morgan Freeman. He's Morgan Freeman. I mean, has Morgan Freeman ever given a bad performance? No, I don't think so. Neither has Michael Caine. And then we have Marion Cotillard and Matthew Modine, and they're like the two weak spots of the movie for me, for the cast at least. And Gary Oldman, of course, almost forgot him. Commissioner Gordon, he was terrific. Love Gary Oldman. He's always good in this role. He's totally grown on me throughout the series. I love him. And then we have the three standouts, alright? And oh my god, these three are awesome. One, Anne Hathaway. Have to do ladies first with this. She was awesome. Alright, she was terrific. And when she was first announced as Catwoman, like, almost everyone was like, oh my god, why is the girl from the Princess Diaries playing Catwoman? Like, I was like the only one like, you know what, she has two things that I thought could totally make a great Catwoman. One, she's a terrific actress. Alright, Love and Other Drugs, Rachel Getting Married, she's terrific. She has great dramatic range. Two, she's sexy. She's beautiful. She's one beautiful woman, that Anne Hathaway. And those two factors totally did a great job of transforming her into Selina Kyle. I thought she was flawless in this movie. Even if her character was a little bit underdeveloped, and I would have loved more, you know, fleshing out of her character, it still worked, and I didn't mind it after a while because Anne Hathaway was that badass. She's totally gone a long way since The Princess Diaries. And The Princess Diaries 2, The Royal Engagement. Why are those movies on my mind right now? Tom Hardy, alright? I want to talk about Tom Hardy because Tom Hardy in this movie is getting a lot of shit for the wrong reason, okay? He's following, damn it, he's following Heath Ledger, okay? And really no one can follow Heath Ledger. I want to compare performances for a little bit. I'm not going to, like, totally compare the performances, because, like I said before, Heath Ledger gave my favorite performance ever. But I went into that like, you know, Tom Hardy's still going to kick ass, and he ended up kicking complete ass as Bane. In terms of who was a better villain, the Joker. But a more intimidating villain, evil villain, ruthless villain, Bane. Oh my god. Bane. Whenever Tom Hardy came onto the screen, I was like on the edge of my seat. I'm like, what the hell is he gonna do next? And his voice, I know everyone's fucking complaining about his voice. Shut up, alright? He was awesome. His voice was so cool. It was like sort of like Shakespearean meets Yoda sort of thing, and it was awesome. He definitely had some of the coolest lines of the movie. I loved his conversations between him and Batman. Those were awesome. Tom Hardy, you're freaking awesome, alright? I loved you in Warrior, loved you in Bronson, loved you in Inception. love you even more in The Dark Knight Rises. Oh my god!
This is how we do it.
Then we have Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the guy who should have won the Oscar last year for... Yeah, this guy's gone a long way since Angels in the Outfield. I love him, and man, he was one freaking awesome character. I wouldn't say he gave the best performance of the film. He was definitely my favorite character. He was the most interesting character, well, definitely the most intriguing character, and I don't want to give anything away, alright? He's just terrific. I love all the dialogue he has. I really don't want to say any scenes he was in, because that's giving a little bit too much away, but I'm just going to say he was flawless in this movie. He was terrific. He's JGL, alright? He's the De Niro of our generation, alright? I'm just going to say that. He's the De Niro of our generation. He can do no wrong until he does a family movie like Little Fockers, okay? Weird.
This is how we do it.
But overall, The Dark Knight Rises, like I said, runs a little bit too long, and there's a couple things that I did have something to gripe about, but if I would go into those, it would be considered spoilers, and I really don't want to spoil this for you because you have to see this movie. 9.5 out of 10 for The Dark Knight Rises. Absolutely loved it. You need to see this movie right now, alright? Mocha commands you to.